Gemma is a mermaid. No, really. She lives in the Atlantic Ocean with her family and friends. Can you tell who the youngest sister in the family is just by looking at them? Take a look at the granny mermaid. She has plenty of starfish on her tail. It's a hint. Each star symbolizes 1 year of life. That means that the second mermaid is the youngest. Her tail is decorated with 15 starfish, which means she's 15. And 2 other sisters are 18 and 22 years old, respectively. Now one day, Gemma went to a mermaid party, but one of the guests was not a real mermaid. Can you tell who it was? This shark over there is not a mermaid. Gemma's mother, Fiona, owns a cute one-story jewelry store for mermaids. She came to her store early in the morning and found out that the most expensive necklace had been stolen. She called the underwater police. Detective Fisher arrived and questioned Fiona. "I closed the store at 10 p.m. and went home. The pearl necklace was still right there." Detective Fisher identified 3 suspects. The owner of the store next door said, "I closed my door at 8 p.m. and went home right after that." The guard said, "I was on duty last night. Perhaps the thief snuck into the store when I was patrolling another floor." And the cleaning lady said that she'd finished cleaning at 4 p.m. Then she rushed home because her husband was having a birthday party. So, who's lying? The guard. Fiona's shop is a one-story building. He couldn't be on another floor when the necklace was stolen. There's no other floor. Gemma was swimming with dolphins and reached the surface of the ocean. Suddenly, she noticed 2 handsome guys, Nick and Rick, and they were both in trouble. Which guy should Gemma save first? Rick. Although this wooden boat is a bit flooded with water, it's still okay, and Nick can scoop the water out. But this inflatable boat is damaged. Rick will soon find himself in the water, and a shark is nearby. Gemma saved both guys and brought them to the shore. Nick grabbed his phone and took her picture without permission. Gemma asked him to delete the photo because merfolk didn't want people to know about them. Nick said, "Okay, I'll delete the evidence. But first, you gotta crack my riddle. Salty water everywhere, but not sea in sight. What am I talking about? Can you help Gemma?" The correct answer is tears. Rick asked Gemma on a date, and she said yes. She went to a local witch doctor to buy a potion to get human legs for 24 hours. The door to the witch's house was locked, and the note said, "If you want to meet me, find the key first." Can you help Gemma find the key? Here it is. Gemma opened the door with the key and found another door that required a password. There was a note on the door. What has 88 keys but cannot open a single door? Can you help Gemma crack the code? It's a piano. Gemma didn't have any money. The witch offered her this deal.
"If you guess my riddle, I'll give you the potion for free. But if you don't crack it, you will be my servant forever. So listen, 2 in a hole and 4 in a pack. 6 in a trio, you see. 8's a quartet, but what you must get is the name that fits just one of me. What am I?"
Gemma cracked this riddle right away and got her potion. What about you? The correct answer is half. Gemma got the potion, drank it, and turned into a human. There were 3 routes she could take to get to the meeting point. The first path led through a village inhabited by vampires. The second path is full of toxic flowers that could make her lose her mind. And the third path went through an enchanted forest that blocked all magic and canceled all previous spells. Which way should Gemma choose? The first option is the safest. It's a sunny day and vampires are probably sleeping. Rick and Gemma met at a restaurant called Three Mermaids. But there are only 2 statues of mermaids on the porch. The owner of the cafe, Victor, is well aware of this and could easily fix this. But he doesn't. Why? This is his business strategy. Passers-by notice the mistake, enter the restaurant to inform the owner, and often stay for lunch. Rick is a detective at the police station. During his dinner with Gemma, he received an urgent call from work. Jeff, a country house owner, said that his housekeeper had tried to get rid of him. The night before, the housekeeper gave him an apple for dessert. The man took a bite and passed out. He woke up the next morning and immediately called the police. Rick and Gemma went to the crime scene. The housekeeper denied everything. Gemma didn't know who to believe. But when Rick examined the crime scene, he understood who was lying right away. Who's the liar, the housekeeper or the owner? The owner said he'd eaten a poison apple. So if it happened the day before, this apple must be brown now. But it's not. The man must have bitten into it just before calling the police. Gemma didn't notice this clue because she doesn't live on land. Rick and Gemma decided to have a picnic in a sunflower field. But something's wrong here. Can you tell what exactly? The wind is blowing the clouds to the right, but the sunflowers are swinging to the left. That's impossible. Gemma fell asleep in the field. When she woke up, Rick was gone. She looked around and saw an evil elf. He said, "I've put your boyfriend in jail, mermaid. If you want to see him again, solve my puzzle. I can be red, blue, purple, and green. No one can reach me, not even the queen. What am I?" Can you help Gemma save Rick? The correct answer is rainbow. The elf took Gemma to his secret lab. He said, "I've cloned your boyfriend so we don't need him anymore. Now you may take him home. Unfortunately, I don't remember which of them is the real Rick, but you know better." Can you help Gemma decide which of these guys is her Rick? This guy has 3 fingers. This Rick's teeth are too sharp for a human. This Rick lacks eyebrows, and this one has pointed ears. So this one is the only real human. The elf returned Rick to Gemma. The guys rushed away from his lab. It began to rain, and they decided to hide in an old, creepy castle. When they entered the building, they saw a beautiful fountain. That's when Rick and Gemma realized that they were not alone. There were many ghosts in this castle. Can you figure out the exact number? There are 7 ghosts in this picture. One of the ghosts is hiding inside the fountain. And the guy over there is not a ghost. He has feet, and he's sweating. He's the owner of the castle. The owner showed Rick and Gemma his art collection. It contained an ancient and expensive item he was very proud of. "This is a picture created by a 16th century artist. I got it from my father, and he got it from his father too, and so on." But Rick didn't believe that the painting was original and called the castle owner a liar. Why? See this plastic cup? It couldn't exist in the 16th century. Well, it stopped raining and the guys decided to leave the castle. But the door had disappeared. The owner of the castle was very angry and offered them only 3 options to escape. There was a tunnel with a fire burning inside behind the first door. Dangerous, angry snakes were waiting behind the second door. And there was a portal leading to a black hole behind the third door. Which door should Gemma and Rick choose? The first door. They can put the fire out using the water from the fountain and vases from this shelf. Rick and Gemma went to the beach because the 24-hour spell was coming to an end. Gemma had to return to the Sea Kingdom. Suddenly, the Wicked Witch appeared out of nowhere and said, "You guys are so cute. I don't want you to be apart. If you manage to solve my riddle, I'll turn Gemma into a human for good. Here's your task. How to poke a balloon without popping it." What do you think? Rick cracked this riddle right away. What about you? The correct way to do it is by letting the air out of the balloon first. Gemma became a human. Rick was very glad and invited her to go on vacation right away. They arrived at the airport, but suddenly an elegant lady began to shout. Someone had snatched her super expensive bag. Rick reacted quickly. He detained 3 suspicious passengers who had been hanging around for the last hour. Rick and the airport security watched the footage from the cameras. Unfortunately, they could only find the footage of the events from 5 minutes before the theft. So, who's the criminal? It's the guy over there. The elderly woman's bag only looks bigger because she put her jacket inside. And the stolen bag wouldn't fit in this girl's purse. Gemma was living happily with Rick. But one day, she received this postcard from her mermaid sister. Gemma was horrified.
Oh, no.
She dropped everything and went back to the Sea Kingdom to save her sister. But when she got there, she saw that her sister was safe. How did she survive? See these theater curtains in the picture? It was a show for the inhabitants of the sea. Well, that figures.
I have some more riddles for you today. Let's start with the easy ones for a warm-up. Can you find the odd one out? Yep, here it is. Here's another one. Find an odd one out here then. Perfect, here it is. How about this one? Right here. Did you find it? And it's getting harder. What about the odd one out here? Look, it's this one. All the other hands are the right ones, and this one is the only left hand. Now I'll show you 2 pictures. Your task is to find 5 differences between them. Ready? Here they are. How many did you spot? Let's do it one more time. Find 5 differences here. Keep your eyes wide open. So did you manage to do it? I think you're now prepared for more hardcore tasks. Let's start with decoding. Detective Callum has been searching for a missing girl, Riley, for 3 weeks. He was in his office going through the case for the 100th time when he got an anonymous email saying, "Can you guess what's written here?" It's just written in reverse order. If you read it from right to left, the message turns into, "The girl is in a hidden room beneath the Central Cafe. Bring $500 and I will tell you the passcode." Someone robbed a bank, and Detective Callum was leading the investigation. There were 2 robbers, but the police managed to catch only one of them, Dante. Dante refused to name his accomplice, but the police had 3 suspects, Bree, Ivory, and Ronan. Detective Callum took a brief look at them and knew exactly who the second robber was. Who was it, and how did he know? It's Ivory. Look, she has the exact same tattoo on her wrist as Dante. Holland went to work and asked her boyfriend, Kyler, to walk the dog. Kyler agreed, but then his friend called him and suggested to come over to play a new video game. So, Kyler decided to skip the dog walk and went straight to his friends. Holland and he met right outside the house when they were both going back home. Kyler said that he'd walked the dog and then went to play with his friend. But Holland knew that he was lying. How? It's winter. So just look at the footprints. There are Holland's footprints on the snow going both ways, and Kyler's footprints going both ways too, but there are no footprints of the dog. Someone in a little town was stealing bicycles. Every time someone's bike was stolen, the owner would find a business card with 2 emojis printed on it. The police had 3 main suspects, Ocean Walker, Rebecca Smith, and Damian Jones. Who is the robber? The emojis signify the name. They are a wave and a person walking, so the robber must be Mr. Ocean Walker. On Wednesday, after a break, Nash came to his desk and found a short love note written in red ink. It wasn't signed, but Nash had 3 girls in mind, so he asked each of them if she had written him the note. Layla said that she'd been chatting with her friends and didn't write any notes. Dawn said that she was busy all break finishing her homework. Oakley said that she had been in the bathroom and had just come back. Who do you think wrote the note? Look, Oakley's hands are covered in ink. It's blue ink, but still. If she really was in the bathroom, her hands would be clean. So she must be lying, and she must be the one who wrote that note. Adley was kidnapped and woke up in a dungeon. There were 3 ways out, but they all looked dangerous. Behind one door, there were many little robots that were ready to attack her. Behind the second door, there were 3 trained tigers. Behind the third door, there were 3 big and very hungry dogs. Which way should Adley choose to get out safely? The best choice must be the first door. Although they're robots, they're still super small and probably can't cause her much harm. Right before a restaurant was about to open, someone had stolen all the money from the cashier's desk. A cook said that he was working in the kitchen and didn't have any free time. The security guy said that he was in the bathroom and didn't see anything. The waiter said that there was a suspicious visitor peeking around. Who do you think stole the money? The restaurant was still closed and there couldn't be any visitors, so the waiter must have lied and is probably guilty. Ned works in a club, and his job is to check people's ID cards and not to let suspicious people or folks under 21 in. Take a look at ID cards and help him decide if he can let each visitor in or not. Here's the first one. What do you think? She seems fine. Let her in. Okay, here's the next visitor. What do you say? June 31st does not exist. There are just 30 days in June, so nope. What about this guy? Something is wrong once again. Even though February 29th theoretically exists, there was no February 29th in 1977. It's every year that can be divided by 4. Okay, what do you think about this girl? I don't see anything suspicious about her. Here's another candidate for the club. What do you think? Well, he is 22, and he seems fine to me. Let him in. A student was having an oral chemistry exam and was struggling with his last task. His professor decided to help him and have some fun, so he said that instead of the task, the student could guess his daughter's name. He only had one guess, but there was a hint. He wrote down several numbers: 32, 10, 14, 16. What's the professor's daughter's name? It's a chemistry class and chemistry professor, so there must be something related to chemistry. Look, there's even a periodic table in the background to help you. The 32nd element is germanium, or Ge, and the 10th one is neon, or Ne, and the 14th one is silicon, or Si, and finally, the 16th element is sulfur, or S. Together, they form the name Genesis. A bank was robbed, but they couldn't find the robber. A week later, at night, Detective Callum woke up from a call from a local shop's owner. He said that he found the money under his terrace. Detective Callum arrived, but there was only half of the money stolen. The man said that he had seen a man by his shop a week ago. It was a full moon, so he could see that the man had red hair and was wearing a dark hoodie. Still, the shop owner was arrested. Why? The shop owner said it was a full moon a week ago, but look, it's a full moon right now, so the man must be lying about something. In history class, students were asked to prepare a presentation about their ancestors. Edwin told about his great-great-grandpa who moved to New York and started as a salesman and then built a huge business. He even showed a photograph of his young grandpa in New York, but no one believed Edwin's story. Why? Even though the picture is black and white and looks old, old New York looks very much like modern New York, with dozens of skyscrapers. The class noticed and figured out that it definitely wasn't a real photo. Royce called the police and reported that someone had robbed his house. Detective Callum arrived and asked Royce to tell exactly what happened. Royce said that he had walked into his room and saw someone getting out of the window. It was still open because Royce didn't care to close it or touch anything before the police arrived. He checked his wardrobe and found that his savings had been stolen. Detective Callum closed the case. Why? The robber couldn't go out the window without stepping on the bed, but the bed is perfectly made, so it looks like no one was leaving through the window. Kaya was studying in the library. She went to the bathroom and left her things on the desk. When she returned, she found that her wallet had been stolen. She called the police and they interrogated the 3 students who were also in the library. Andre said that he had left the library right after Kaya to get a drink from the vending machine and hadn't touched any of her things. Poppy said that she was studying the whole time and not paying attention to anything. Rhea said that she was in the other part of the library looking for a book she needed and hadn't seen anything suspicious either. Who stole the wallet? It was Andre. He said that he had left to get a drink in a vending machine. But look, there's no drinks in the vending machine, only snacks. A young man named Colton was living with his best friend Cassidy. One morning, he called the police because Cassidy wasn't breathing. He said that he'd been working all day and had returned home late, so he hadn't seen her or talked to her for over a day. In the morning, he found her in bed like that. Last night, Cassidy had a headache and had to take many pills, so maybe that was the reason. Colton was immediately arrested. Why? Colton obviously didn't communicate with Cassidy, but he still somehow knew what she was doing in the evening. He must have come up with all of it, as he is probably guilty. Jennifer had an epic quarrel with her best friend Alice and decided to go hiking without her. After a long walk, she chose a place to settle down for the night. The next morning, she got out of the tent and found out that all her food supplies were gone. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who stole the food? Although there are hair footprints all over the ground, these animals are too small to untie and carry away such a large bag of food. Alice followed Jennifer to prank her, but she forgot her hairband at the crime scene. Can you find a 4-leaf clover in this pattern? Here it is. Peter got tired of big city life and moved to a quiet village. He opened a small coffee shop. His place gained popularity among local farmers and tourists very quickly. But one night, someone broke into the coffee shop and robbed it. Peter interrogated 4 suspects. Dylan said he'd been out of the city that night. Leia had been cleaning her room all night. Vanessa said she'd been rehearsing a dance for the upcoming New Year's performance. And Jason had been taking care of his cattle. Who's lying? Vanessa, look at these blooming flowers in the field. It's summertime. It's too early for New Year's rehearsals. Vicky got on a bus. But suddenly, she ran out screaming, "There's a zombie in there!" Who is a zombie? It's the driver. Take a look at his arm. Fred is a fitness coach. He bought a pack of peanut butter cookies on the way to his office. He couldn't eat them inside the building since his boss, Mia, had a really bad peanut allergy. Plus, his current clients were on a sugar-free diet for a week. So, Fred took a couple of bites and hid the remaining cookies in his locker. When Fred opened the pack during the next break, it was empty. He questioned the clients. Chris said he'd been talking to his mother. Pam went out to get some fresh air. Jason helped Mia serve peanut butter sandwiches and coffee. And Kelly was busy eating her fruit salad. Who's lying? Jason. Mia has a peanut allergy. She wouldn't have come close to peanut butter sandwiches. Can you guess the word by these emojis? It's iPhone. What about this combination? It's airline. And what about these emojis? That's a coffee break. Let's try another one. It's bad luck. What about this combination? A starfish. What about these emojis? Cornbread. How about these 2 emojis? Right, that's sunlight. Let's try another one. Sunglasses. Can you find a snowman among these pandas? Here it is. Can you find a rabbit among all these cats? This little guy over here. Someone robbed a bank last night. Its manager doesn't want the clients to know about it, so he hasn't told any details to the press yet. The police have found 3 suspects. All of them have been previously accused of similar robberies. The police officer asked, "What were you doing when the robbery happened?" Stacy claimed she'd gone to bed at 11 p.m. Dan said, "I was bowling with my friends between 1 and 2 a.m. Ryan said he had spent the whole night in a hospital with his granny. Who robbed the bank? It was Dan. The police officer didn't mention when exactly the robbery had happened. Then how did he know it? Kelly was walking alone in the forest. She found a picturesque spot and began to record a dance for her TikTok, but suddenly she fell into a cave. Kelly looked around and noticed 4 doors. There were hungry lions behind the first door. Venomous insects were hiding behind the second door. Behind the third door, there was a tunnel that was on fire. And there were live wires behind the fourth door. Which way is safe? The fourth door is the safest. There's enough space for Kelly to crawl under the wires. Can you find a panda among these people? It's over there. Miss Green recently got the job of a college teacher. She decided to start her first class with a small test. The woman watched her students during the test very attentively and noticed that 3 of them were cheating. Who? Look at this guy's knee. And this young lady is holding a book under her desk. And this young man over here has a bottle with the answers written on it. Can you find the odd emoji? Something is wrong with this guy's teeth. Harry woke up in a creepy abandoned hospital. He searched the area and only found an old cart. He went further and saw 4 doors, but there were dangers lurking behind each of these doors. Angry werewolves were waiting behind the first one. The floor behind the second door was all covered with toxic acid. There was a wicked witch behind the third door, and there was a fire blazing behind the fourth door. What should Harry do? Harry should choose the second door and use the cart to get to safety. Can you find the odd fish? Here it is. Gemma decided to follow her dreams and move to a cute house in a small village. She found several boxes in the basement and organized a garage sale to sell that stuff. Gemma put up an ad, everything for $1. Leah bought an old chess set, Peter purchased a mirror, and Daniel bought an old jewelry box. When they left, Gemma's neighbor came over and told her that she'd made a mistake. She had just sold a very expensive thing for a song. What item did she mean? Not the chess set because it's made of plastic, and not the mirror because it's cracked. She meant the jewelry box. Look at how Daniel is carrying it. The thing's heavy and probably filled with expensive stuff. Can you find the odd emoji? Here it is. Peter and Wendy had a picnic in a beautiful park. Suddenly, it started raining and they hid in their car. That's when Wendy noticed she had left her phone outside. Peter returned to the picnic spot but found no phone. Luckily, the thief couldn't get far. So, Peter entered the nearest cafe to check the customers. He saw 3 people inside. The guy immediately figured out who had taken the phone. Can you guess who the thief is? It's the second guy. He's the only one with wet hair and clothes. On his birthday, Jason invited 3 friends on a hiking trip. They found a beautiful wild beach and decided to stay there for the night. In an hour, one of Jason's friends disappeared. They separated to search for him, and the other 2 friends also vanished. Can you guess what happened? Jason's friends decided to prank him. They're waiting for him with a birthday cake on a boat. Mary had just returned from a 2-day business trip. She's starving, so she rushes to the kitchen. She opens the fridge to get some snacks. Can you help Mary throw away spoiled food? This apple has gone bad. Some weird loud sounds woke Emily in the middle of the night. She ran to her roommates' bedrooms to check on them. Both Mia and Sam were sound asleep. In the morning, Emily found out that their house had been robbed. Mia said that she'd been sleeping and hadn't heard anything suspicious. Sam said that he had returned from a party very late and had fallen asleep immediately. Can you guess what happened? The robber entered the house through Sam's window and pretended to be Sam when Emily came to check on her roommate. And the real Sam returned from the party way later that night. Can you figure out who this dog belongs to? The dog's owner is the woman in the middle. She's the only one who's not trying to pet the dog. What is the sum of these numbers? Four plus 17 plus 13 equals 34. George was returning home after a long day at work. He was walking through the park when somebody pushed him. He woke up in a well. The walls were too slippery to climb out of it, and he couldn't reach the bucket. Luckily, the guy found the solution. Can you guess how George escaped? He took off his shoes and threw them back into the bucket. The added weight brought the bucket down, and George used it to climb out of the well and escape. An old king doesn't have an heir, but he still has to choose a successor to take care of the country. So he gathered all young men and women in his kingdom and gave each of them a seed. The person who will grow the largest plant will inherit the throne, he said. 3 months later, all the participants came back to the palace to show their plants. After the king looked at them, he chose a young lady with an empty pot. Why did he pick her? The king gave the participants fake seeds. The woman was the only honest person who didn't try to cheat. There are 3 sticks. Can you make 4 out of them without breaking any stick? Here you go. A man was doing some repairs and accidentally fell from the roof of a 12-story building. He was not wearing a parachute, but he still survived the fall. How? He landed on a balcony on the 11th floor. Mr. Tyler is a college professor. He teaches history, and his students like his classes very much. But one day, they decided to surprise Mr. Tyler and put on mummy costumes before his class. When Mr. Tyler saw them, he yells and runs away. Why? This guy over there is a real mummy. He's levitating and there's flies around him.
Kevin and Jill moved in together several months ago. Can you guess how many months ago did they start living together by looking at this picture? There's a cleaning schedule hanging on the fridge. It has colored stickers with their names. They've been keeping this schedule for 5 months already. Therefore, they moved in together 5 months ago. New Year was coming, and Kevin invited Jill to spend the holidays in his parents' house. When they arrived, Kevin introduced Jill to his father and 2 brothers. Suddenly, Kevin's mother entered the house with her 2 best friends. They just came back home from the mall. Can you help Jill decide which of these 3 women is Kevin's mother? The third woman. The mole on her face is identical to Kevin's. Also, she's the only natural blonde among these women. Although the other 2 ladies also have blonde hair, their roots are dark. Kevin gave Jill a tour around the house. He offered her to play a game and guess on the second floor. She was supposed to guess which of the 3 bedrooms was Kevin's room where he lived with his parents. Have you guessed? The second room. Kevin's name was written on the wall. Although the graffiti was covered with paint, it could still be seen through. Besides, the interior of Kevin's current apartment also has some graffiti elements because he still pursues his hobby. Before the dinner, Kevin's brothers decided to prank Kevin and Jill and serve some snacks. There are 3 bowls with snacks, but only one of them contains edible snacks. Can you help Kevin and Jill choose the right bowl? The first bowl has spiders in it. The second bowl doesn't only contain chips, but also Lego parts. And there's a couple of dirty socks inside the third bowl. Therefore, the safest option is bowl number 2. They just need to be careful not to eat Lego parts. During the dinner, Kevin's mother has been asking Jill embarrassing questions. Jill told her 4 facts about herself. She graduated from college with honors. She doesn't have any tattoos. Jill and Kevin met each other online. Her favorite color is blue. But only 3 facts are true. Which one is false? Jill does have a tattoo. Take a look at her ankle. Next morning, the entire family gathered in the living room to have breakfast and unpack Christmas gifts. Can you guess what gift is from Kevin's mother to Jill? This blue box. It's the only gift wrapped in a different color than others. Kevin's mother probably learned that Jill would come over after having wrapped all the gifts for her family. Besides, Jill mentioned that she loved blue color. Kevin and Jill went hiking nearby Kevin's hometown. It started to snow, and they decided to spend a romantic night in the woods. They rented a lovely cabin. Next morning, Jill got out of the bed and saw that their backpacks had disappeared. Hey! Take a look at this picture. Can you guess who stole their stuff? Kevin's brothers decided to prank them. There are traces of 2 people on the snow, and one of the brothers dropped one of his purple gloves. Kevin's brothers jumped out of a barn where they hid. They decided to go for a walk and found a secret base in the mountains. It was well guarded, but Kevin's brother Mike found an open door. The door slammed shut just as Mike got inside. He saw 3 pots in front of him. There was a fire in the first one. The second one was full of acid, and there was a working electric saw in the third pot. Suddenly, a mysterious voice said, "You can get a key from one of the pots to break free, but you can't move the pots." How did Mike escape? He pulled icicles from the ceiling and threw them into the first pot. The icicles melted and put the fire out. The guys continued their journey. Soon after, they decided to stop and have a quick snack. Kevin's second brother, Andy, spotted a cave. As soon as he entered the cave, the way out disappeared. Now he must choose between 3 doors. There are poisonous scorpions behind the first door. There's a sleeping potion behind the second door, and he would have to drink. Finally, there's a hungry tiger behind the third door. What should Andy do to escape? He should grab the sleeping potion, pour it over his sandwich, and throw the food at the hungry tiger. When the tiger falls asleep, he'll be able to escape through the third door. Jill, Kevin, Andy, and Mike headed home when they noticed cougars moving toward them. The guys started running away and saw a tunnel. It was very dark and scary. They only have 12 minutes to cross it. It takes Mike 1 minute to cross the tunnel, Andy 2 minutes, Jill 4 minutes, and Kevin 5 minutes. The guys decided to split into two pairs, but they only have one flashlight, and there's no way they go in there in four. How can they escape? Andy and Mike should walk through the tunnel with the flashlight in 2 minutes. Then Mike returns. They still have 9 minutes. Kevin and Jill run through the tunnel with the flashlight and give it to Andy. It will take another 5 minutes. Then Andy should run to Mike, and they will escape together with the remaining 2 minutes. Kevin and Jill returned home, but the adventure continued. Someone robbed their apartment yesterday. They called the police and questioned the neighbors. Dan said that he had spent all holidays at work and didn't come home at all. Vicky was wearing headphones because she was making music, so she couldn't hear any suspicious sounds. And Emily spent the holidays at her sister's place because construction workers had to finish renovations in her apartment. Who is lying? Emily. If they finished renovations, why is her apartment a giant mess? 2 years later, Kevin and Jill decided to get married. On the wedding day, Kevin noticed that Jill had forgotten her wedding necklace in his bag. He went to her dressing room to get the jewelry, but when he got there, he saw 3 identical Jills wearing identical dresses. Jill's father is a scientist. He decided to test Kevin's feelings before the wedding and made 2 clones of his daughter. Help Kevin find his real bride. It's the third one. She has a tattoo on her ankle, remember? And her clones don't, because tattoos don't impact genetics. Jill went downstairs to say hi to her bridesmaids, but when she saw them, Jill began to yell at her dad because he pranked her with his mad scientific tricks once again. One of the bridesmaids was a cyborg. Can you guess who it was? This elegant lady over here. What is she doing with her head? Kevin's mother was responsible for the wedding banquet. But when she entered the kitchen and saw the food served by the catering company, she got very upset. She called the company's office and started to yell at the manager, telling them to fix the disaster immediately. Can you guess what made her so upset? Look at the top of the cake. There are 2 green goblins instead of the bride and the groom. Kevin and Jill went to the Caribbean for their honeymoon. The hotel looked rather creepy, but they decided to stay there anyway. The hotel employee asked the newlyweds to choose a room from the remaining options. Can you help Kevin and Jill pick a good room? There were weird stains on linen in the first room. There's a spider web on the chandelier in the second room. And the third one looks pretty good. Jill decided to chill in the swimming pool. On her way to the dressing room, she noticed a TV in the hall and heard some breaking news. Someone spotted a zombie in town. The creature probably went downtown, and it could be anywhere. Zombies are not very good at swimming and move very slowly. Jill entered the dressing room and met 3 people. Can you tell who the zombie is? There's a bandage on this woman's leg. No one would go to a swimming pool if they had cuts or stretches unless they're a zombie. In the hotel room, Kevin found a secret door leading to a tunnel. He walked through the tunnel and found storage full of diamonds. Suddenly, prison bars appeared around Kevin out of nowhere, and a mysterious voice said, "You can take all the diamonds and leave safely if you manage to choose the right potion to escape." There were 3 options. The first potion will make Kevin invisible, the second potion will turn him into a bird, and the third potion will make him super tall. In 5 minutes, Kevin returned to Jill with a huge bag of diamonds. Which potion did he choose? The second one. He turned into a small bird that flew through the bars. The next morning, Jill woke up stuck on a small, flat, deserted island. It raised up 40 feet, and all around the base are jagged rocks and shark-infested waters. The island was covered in a dry, flammable vegetation. Suddenly, lightning struck the easternmost point of the island, and a huge fire started. The wind made the fire burn in a perfectly straight line across the island, with no gaps in the fire line. The fire was burning quite intensely, and she couldn't vault it or put it out. Jill cannot jump or traverse the rocks, and the wind won't change direction. How can she survive? Jill can start a fire herself, which will burn behind her. By the time the main fire gets there, she will be surrounded by an already burned area, and the main fire will not harm her. Also, since there was lightning, it probably rained soon after. The rain could put out the fire, and Jill would survive. Wow, what a crazy honeymoon. I think I'd just stay home. Lily had problems at college because her logical thinking was weak. One day, her teacher said, "I'll give you one last riddle. If you fail, I will expel you from college." A farmer had 17 cows. All but 5 escaped. How many cows does the farmer have now? Lily didn't manage to give a correct answer. Can you do it? The riddle said all but 5 escaped, which means all others except the 5 cows escaped. So the farmer has 5 cows now. It's tricky because it's too simple. The teacher kicked Lily out of college. She was collecting her stuff in her dorm room and crying. Suddenly, a letter flew into her window. It was an invitation to study at the School of Magic addressed to her. At the bottom of the letter, she saw this code and the words, "See you there." Lily got very excited. She packed her backpack and ran away. Where did she run to? She ran to the library. In the library, Lily met a weird guy looking like a wizard. He opened 3 magical portals, but only one of them was safe. The first portal leads inside a massive black hole. The second portal will bring her to the year 9999, and the third portal leads to a group of ghosts. If Lily chooses the right way, she will get to the School of Magic. Which portal should she choose? The third one. Ghosts can be scary, but they're usually not dangerous, while the first 2 options are too risky. Lily found herself in a beautiful, snowy forest. Suddenly, 4 male ghosts surrounded her and said, "We'll show you the way to your new school if you spot one fake ghost among us." Can you help Lily find the fake? There it is. Ghosts don't breathe. The ghost took Lily to a castle. When she entered its hall, she faced 4 female ghosts. They surrounded her and said, "We'll show you the way to the principal's office if you guess which one of us isn't a ghost." Did you figure it out? This lady has a shadow. Lily entered the office and noticed 5 ghosts there. They asked her the same riddle and promised to show her a secret door. Can you spot the pretender? It's this guy right here. Ghosts don't eat. Lily opened a secret door and met 3 women, but only one of them is the principal. Can you guess who? It's the second lady. Her jacket is hanging on the principal's chair. The principal greeted Lily and offered her to solve a riddle right away. There are 2 rows of potion bottles on 2 shelves. Lily has to move just 1 bottle on the top row so that they'll be in the same order as the bottles in the bottom row. Can you help her? Pour the potion from the first bottle into the 4th bottle and move the now empty bottle all the way to the right. The principal congratulated Lily on getting accepted to the School of Magic and asked the ghost to show her the dorm room. Lily fell asleep very quickly, but in the middle of the night, she woke up floating out of her window. 2 students prepared a welcome prank for her. Lily found herself on a castle roof. The 2 students in masks said, "We'll set you free if you guess this riddle." There are 4 frogs in the vertical row and 5 frogs in the horizontal row. Lily has to move just 1 frog so that there are 5 frogs in each row. Can you help her? Yep, just like that. Easy. The students wrote 5 words in the air using their magic wands. Then they asked Lily to take a look at the words and find the odd one out. Can you name it? The board doesn't belong here because it doesn't form a word if you read it backward. The wizards opened a portal and pushed Lily inside. The portal took her to a creepy basement where Lily found 3 doors. There's a wild jungle with a hungry gorilla behind the first door. Behind the second door, there's a river with wild alligators waiting to eat Lily. And there's a huge angry cobra behind the third door. Which way should Lily go? She should pick the first one. She can distract the gorilla with all these bananas. Next morning, Lily went to her first class, but someone locked the door. Lily pushed the door and noticed a screen with a riddle. It said, "Find an odd detail out and I'll let you in." Can you see it? This one is not an S. Lily opened the door and faced another door with a similar riddle. Can you help her? This guy doesn't belong here. The last door offered Lily this riddle. In 2 seconds, she entered the classroom and started her studies. What detail did she notice? This one, right here. During the class, a teacher offered Lily to find 3 differences between these 2 pictures. Can you see them? That's right, here they are. How about these images? Can you see 3 differences? I didn't see this one coming. Can you help Lily spot 3 differences here? Good job! I hope you got them all. Lily came to the dining room for lunch. Plates full of food appeared out of the air, but Lily's classmate, Mike, warned her that only one dish is actually edible. Can you help Lily figure out which one? This delicious-looking spaghetti has rusty nails in it. This food isn't even real. Take a look, it's translucent. This salad contains worms. Ew. And this taco looks pretty good. After lunch, Lily had a botany lesson. The teacher went to the garden to pick fruits from one apple tree and prepare a special healing potion. The tree has 18 branches. Each branch has exactly 14 boughs. Each bough has 7 twigs, and each twig has 2 fruits. How many oranges will the teacher pick? Lily instantly gave the correct answer. Can you name it? The teacher won't bring any oranges. They don't grow on apple trees. Lily went apple picking with Mike. On the way back, they met 4 of their classmates. There were only 5 apples in the basket. Lily had to divide them equally between the students. But 1 apple had to remain in the basket she'd bring to class. How would she divide the apples? She can give 4 apples to the classmates, leaving 1 apple in the basket for Mike, and then walk to class with Mike. In the evening, Lily found one of her roommates unconscious in the backyard. The principal questioned 3 suspects. Mike went to bed early and loud noises woke him up. Leah was watching her favorite show. She didn't go outside at all. Kelly was carving pumpkins to spice up the living room, and she didn't see anything suspicious. Who's lying? Looks like Kelly is lying. The room isn't decorated, and the pumpkins aren't finished. Next day, Lily opened her closet and noticed that her favorite dress was missing. She spoke to 3 of her roommates. Leah said she'd spent all morning in the library. Kelly confessed that she had been on a secret date. And Vanessa despises all clothes from the human world. She doesn't even come close to it. Who's lying? Vanessa is lying. Look at her hat. It's made from the same fabric as Lily's dress. If human clothing is so disgusting to her, why does she wear it herself? Mike learned a new spell and turned his textbook into a fancy car. He invited Lily for a ride. 3 people were hitchhiking at a gas station. All of them looked pretty suspicious. Who should Lily and Mike give a ride to? This man doesn't cast a shadow. He's a vampire. This lady was bitten by a vampire. She'll soon turn into a vampire too, so it's not safe to offer her a ride. And this guy is just an ordinary man.
Oh yeah.
Lily entered a classroom and received a new riddle.
Oh yes.
4 wizards are lined up on some steps. They're all facing the same direction. A wall separates the 4th wizard from the remaining 3. The first wizard can see the second and third wizard. The second wizard can only see the third one. The third wizard can see none of the others. And the 4th wizard can't see any of the others either. All wizards are wearing hats. They are told there are 2 white hats and 2 black hats. The wizards initially don't know what color hat they're wearing. Their task is to shout out the color of the hat they are wearing as soon as they know for certain what color it is. They're not allowed to turn around or move. They're not allowed to talk to each other or take their hats off. Who is the first person to shout out and why? The second wizard will shout out the answer after some time. Here's why. Wizards 3 and 4 cannot see the others' hats. Wizard 1 sees a white hat and a black hat and knows his hat can be black or white. Wizard 2 sees one black hat, but if he's also wearing a black hat, it would be obvious to Wizard 1 that he's wearing a white hat. Since Wizard 1 didn't shout out, Wizard 2 concluded that he himself was wearing a white hat. Lily, Mike, Leah, and Mason were having a party in Mike's room to celebrate successfully passing a test. The next day, they found Mike unconscious, and none of his friends knew what had happened to him. When the principal showed up, she saw a note next to Mike's calendar. It read 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. That very second, the principal knew who did it. What about you? It was Mason. The note was next to a calendar. Take the first 3 letters, transform them into months, and you get Mason. 3 equals March, 4 stands for April, 9 means September, 10 equals October, and 11 is November.